break everything down is Joel Rubin. He is a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State. Good to have you back today.
It's great to be with you, Marcel.
Joel, a big move that many have been waiting for. Within the last 24 hours, our Vice President Kamala Harris announced the United States will work to remove Iran from the UN Commission on the Status of Women. Talk to us about what this move says.
Well, it's a significant moment for America's policy towards Iran and a significant moment for women in Iran. The United Nations is not a small forum by any stretch of the imagination when it comes to having an impact on global politics and on the perception of what needs to get done. So this move by the United States is a move to chastise and throw out of a body that focuses on women's rights, the government of Iran. And by doing so, we say to the women of Iran that we stand with you, that we stand with women's rights, that we are not going to allow the government of Iran that is repressing you to be present in this august forum, and that we are going to call them out for their behavior.
A strong statement for sure. But how does this process look like in work, and how soon can Iran be removed?
It's going to take a majority vote to withdraw Iran, take Iran off of the commission. It's going to require a lot of politicking, and just like anything, a lot of negotiation. Our ambassador up at the United Nations, Thomas-Greenfield, who's an excellent diplomat, she has her work cut out for her. She's going to have to get the votes from countries to say, yes, we want to get Iran out of here. That's not easy. It's never easy to take countries out of commissions, but it's necessary. And I want to point out as well that the United Nations has been a leading forum for women's rights. Hillary Clinton back in 1995 spoke to how women's rights are human rights in China. That really set off a whole cascading of activities to support women's rights. So it's going to be hard work, but it's going to get done.
Now, the next thing that follows is that could we see a response from Iran, and what is at stake here for the country when they're removed from these type of commissions?
Yeah, with Iran, absolutely, they're going to complain. They're going to argue that there's hypocrisy. That will be their default response. And the United States is not perfect. How can the United States be judging us? Whereas here in the United States, we have democracy and we have a constant struggle and a fight for it. We don't have the kinds of repression of shooting women in the street and having a government denying that it happens. And so this is going to take work. But the process is that when they are removed, they will no longer be functioning on that body. They'll be replaced by another country. Yep. It's not the entire UN system in that body, and that work will continue.
And actually, Vice President Harris also added how the U.S. will look for opportunities to raise the issue in every applicable UN forum. So what else can the UN do to stand with the women of Iran at this time?
It can support in a variety of areas. Many activities that are currently underway nationally. The United States, for example, we are imposing sanctions on human rights violators in Iran under, quote, morality police. The United Nations can support those types of sanctions and make them global and ask that all countries around the world sanction those individuals and those entities. And of course, we can see continued actions to name and shame Iran, its government, for its behavior. There are multiple bodies with the United Nations, a Human Rights Council, disarmament committees. There are a variety of committees where Iran can be called out for its behavior and in violation of human rights and women's rights. And that will be an ongoing pressure campaign to try to shame Iran into changing its behavior.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's definitely an ongoing situation. Angel, we've actually had several people here on our show who still have loved ones out in Iran. Many of them have shared that they want the Biden administration to do more when it comes to these brutalities the world has seen in Iran for more than 40 years. Is there anything else that can be done to finally put this regime to an end?
Yeah, you know, Marcel, I mean, we have friends there as well. I have friends who are Iranian American. One of my wife's friends is in prison in Iran right now, Siamak Namazi. So it gets very personal. And what we want is we want the regime to change its behavior, first and foremost, to end its horrifying behavior to its people. Regime change is a whole other question that can create a lot of chaos as well. What the people of Iran deserve is a government that respects their human rights, ends their atrocities against their people. And it may very well be that that government has to come to an end. But in the interim, until that unfolds, we have to make sure that Iran's leaders are held accountable, they're called out, and that these actions like we're seeing right now of public overt support for the women of Iran and the people of Iran is real, consistent, and repetitive over time. That's what's going to help to change the behavior as the Iranian people ultimately decide the kind of government that they have representing them.
Yeah, Joel, thank you so much for sharing that. And of course, breaking this down here for our viewers on our show. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Marcel.